Hello, guys. Welcome. This is OKPop Justin in the Neon East podcast. I am here with some of guests, which they're also my friends. So introduce you guys. Have your introductions for each of you, and say which country you have studied abroad in, and so on and so forth. Who wants to go first?
Like you should give us an order.
I should give you an
Not
order.
sure. Yeah, like who should go first? Because I'm not sure who would like.
Okay, so I guess you're the first one that spoke, so you go, Kristen.
Oh, okay. My name's Kristen. I'm studying in South Korea. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what else I'm supposed to be saying, but I did study abroad for a little bit during my undergrad in Korea, but then now I'm doing my graduate school in Korea too. So yeah.
All right.
Hey, I guess I'll go next while my roommate is just a little bit quiet. So my name is Cristina, and I studied abroad in China for my undergraduate, and now I am studying abroad in Korea for my graduate program.
Noise.
My name is Amanda, and I studied abroad in Japan during my undergrad about 4 years ago, and I'm just chilling now back home.
Yeah. Also, for some of you that didn't know, I also studied abroad in China. This was like how many years ago? 2016. So yeah, I'm just chilling at home too. That's nice.
That
That's
sounds
nice.
nice.
Yes. So I want to know like how like what is like the process? I want to talk about like how did you guys thought about going abroad and how is like the process for each of you?
Oh
Um,
man.
well, for me, after I graduated from school in the US, um, like I had always planned on going to China to learn the language for at least a year. And I took some classes during my undergrad in FIU. So I was like, oh, my professor told me, oh, you should sign up for our scholarship with Confucius Institute to go to study language. So then I went there, and while you're there, it's really easy to go from like a language program to a an undergraduate program. So one of my professors, when I told her that I was gonna go back to the US for a second bachelor's, she told me, we can give you a scholarship here. So I was like, okay, free school, no paying money, let's go. So that's how China happened. With Korea, um, I believe one of my friends had told me about the GKS program. And so then I ended up signing up for that. And I did it through my embassy, but you can also do it through the university track. I know Kristen did the same thing, and she's been doing it for a year now. So I think I'll just let her explain that part.
It's fine. Oh, I guess okay. Should I start then?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, when I did my study abroad for undergraduate, I did it like similarly. So I was at FIU, and basically they didn't have a partnership for Korea because Korea just like back then I think it was 2017 and 2017 they didn't really have any partnerships. It was going on and off. They had for sure one with Japan that was really competitive, and then the one for Korea had just like disappeared all of a sudden. So then I decided to do what they call the third party like partnership semester thing, which basically you do all the work and you just tell FIU to like save your spot for the semester. And I did that during my junior year. Yeah, during my junior year. And yeah, then like Christina was saying, now I'm doing the GKS scholarship. I'm finishing my language year because basically what that scholarship is, um, fully paid scholarship, in parentheses because they don't really give you a lot of money to survive. But yeah, it's a fully paid scholarship, and unless you have a level 5 or a level 6 on the topic, which is a Korean language, like the test, you are like you have to mandatorily you have to take like a year of language like program in a random place that's different from where your studies is going to be, and that's what I'm finishing right now. But yeah, that's basically what I'm doing.
So for me, I did it through FAU. They had like a exchange partnership program with a international language school in Japan in Osaka, and I did it my senior year of college, and it was a pretty fair, like fairly easy uh process. It just had to apply. There wasn't like I don't think it was that competitive because I think there was like three kids from FAU that went over. Um, I don't remember it being like super competitive, but it was pretty expensive. I had to take out a loan for it. But uh, yeah, it wasn't too bad.
So then Japan didn't have like any type of scholarship or anything like that?
Um, I don't remember. I think I It's been so long. I'm trying to remember. I think I may have tried applying for the scholarship part and I didn't get it. Like I got into the program but didn't get the scholarship.
Oh.
So I had to fund it myself.
So I'm thinking like the process is more difficult for Korea.
Um, it depends. Like it really depends. Like I'm pretty sure that what Amanda did is what I did during undergrad, which is the same thing. Like basically the school is not going to pay for you. It's just giving you the opportunity to go, like getting scholarship. That's all on you.
Mm-hmm.
So
Hmm.
like they do have a national, like I applied for one that was a national one, and it was like an essay competition almost because you had to
Oh.
explain like what, like I don't know how good this scholarship or this program is going to be for you and why you need the money. And it was super competitive to get that too. I like it's supposed to give you up to $5,000. I did get 500 from the scholarship, but yeah, like there was another scholarship that yeah, we'll pay for everything if you promise to like go to the army after you finish school. And I was
Oh
like,
my God.
Wow.
yeah. But what I did do during undergrad though was that a lot of financial aid does apply when you do study abroad at FIU. So
Mm,
True.
the same like financial aid that I was getting before, and one of my scholarships that I had gotten when I got in from high school to FIU still applied. So I got get that money directly instead of it being taken out for tuition. And then I paid the school's tuition, which is way cheaper than FIU tuition. So I did have like maybe 1,000, 2,000 that I got like just for spending money. But to be honest, that didn't even last me a month, like in terms of what you spend to survive and stuff.
Well, that's very interesting. I actually did not know that financial aid covers like studying abroad.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I guess it depends on the school.
I
Oh no.
don't
I
remember FAU doing that honestly, because I feel like I had an issue with that with my financial aid.
Uh,
So,
Yeah, a few
I think
people have
for
like
FIU,
issues with that. Sorry.
like it really just depends. If you get government financial aid, like federal financial aid, yes. But if you had a university specific scholarship, so say you had like one of the gold scholarships or whatever, which was because you got like a super good SAT score, those are completely canceled once you do study abroad.
mm,
Mm.
So it like depends. There's like loopholes.
Oh,
But
loopholes. Are you sure
yeah.
you're allowed to discuss the loopholes?
I mean, I'm graduate. I finished that. Like I don't know. You can't just come to me and be like, "What did you do?"
True. Very true.
True. But like for people who, in case if they like watch or listen to this, they want to like know like how easy or how hard it is like to apply for studying abroad. Um.
Um, I'm sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say like
I
because like in my case because I did the same thing as you did, Christina. I applied for um the Confucius Institute scholarship to go to China. And for me, you just had to do like the HSK, which is like a Chinese literacy test, proficiency test. Uh, so I did. I think it was like level 2. I remember I think it was level 2. So that was like kind of you just have to like pass the test. Like there's like a multiple choice test and then like a speaking test. I remember that I failed the speaking test once, so I didn't have to take the multiple choice um one again, but then the next semester I had to take then the speaking one again, and then I passed it. So I was qualified just to apply, and I got in. So
Yeah, definitely for the Confucius Scholarship to China, it's a lot easier. I think, and there's three different ones that you can do. You can do one for the summer, there's one for one school semester, and then there's one for a year. So the one for the summer, actually, you do not need to take HSK at all. You just sign up for it.
yeah.
And basically you can just go as long as your school approves of it. And for the semester one, you have to pass. I think now they made it a little bit harder. Now it's HSK 3 for the semester. And you need to pass that, but you don't have to take a speaking test. But for the year, you need to pass. Actually, when I did it, you only need to pass HSK 3. But now because they changed HSK, now you need to pass HSK 4 or 5, one of those, because now HSK levels go up to level 9. So you have to pass, I think, 4 or 5 for the year one. But honestly, as long as you pass the test, you're basically a shoe in. Because even if you don't get because for the 1 year, there's the government scholarship one, or there's just the school scholarship one. The government scholarship one is a little bit harder, but the school scholarship, as long as you pass the HSK, you're definitely a shoe and you're going to be able to go. So it's really, really easy to get that scholarship. And the stipend is a lot as well. I mean, it's not as much as you think it is, but for China, it's a lot because everything is really cheap. So there's not really much to worry about. For Korea, I would say it was definitely a lot harder for me because I had to send, well, since I'm abroad, I had to send all of my documents to a different country, and then that cost me a lot of money. And then taking the topic exam, which also cost a lot of money since I'm in Korea as well. And then like getting my documents from my school. So for me, it was a lot more of a difficult process since I'm not home and I wasn't in China. So a lot of the documents that I needed had to come from the US and then also come from China. And then waiting for those and then trying to plan out everything was a lot harder. But definitely, I think once you get it, it's probably a lot more easier sailings. So yeah.
And also, I forgot to mention the the process of like getting also like visas. I want to know like how is everyone's experience with that, like student visas.
For I'm not sure for Christina's case because I believe Christina was already in Korea when she was applying. So I like and for Christina it might be just changing, but in like for our case for the GKS students, so for students that were doing this like the graduate school program, for people that don't know what GKS is specifically, it's basically like I said before, a full ride scholarship to a master's or doctorate degree, and for some countries even a bachelor's degree, but not America. But the reason that they made the scholarship was apparently to be like closer to other countries and to thank countries for the their help during the Korean War. So actually this is like a nationally viewed scholarship. So basically the best scholarship you could possibly get to come to Korea would be this scholarship. So it's a very like competitive kind of thing. So every country has a specific quantity of people that they can accept. So I think for America, it's about like 15 to 16 this year or something like that. So that's including all of America. Like in my year, nobody from California got picked. And that's like a crazy thing considering the amount of Korean people in California too. But then like different things can get you like a priority for different things. But in terms of the visa, it's not very hard considering it's governmentally, like it's basically the government tells the embassy these people have priority, so make sure to give them the visa. The only thing is that once you go into the language program, which is the mandatory thing you have to do beforehand, you're not given a student visa, you're given a training visa. And I think the reason that you're given a training visa is because you're not allowed to leave. So, like us as language students, we're not allowed to leave until the end of the language program, which would be either after 1 year or after you get a level 5 on the topic exam, which the highest is a 6. So, yeah, basically it's not hard to get it. I do have to say though that the embassy that we have to go to in Florida kind of sucks. Like that embassy does not speak a lot of English, which is fine. Like you don't gotta speak English, like you don't have to speak English, but it does not make things easy when you have to get all the information, especially in a corona situation right now, because I did go during when corona was the worst like period, and the scholarship does cover your quarantine, but even though they cover your quarantine costs, like the school is not happy that they have to cover your quarantine costs. So like it's not a very good 14 days of your life. And it's just really complicated because even the embassy also gets really confused as to why we're not student visas. So sometimes, and you have a very short time period in which they give you your like acceptance papers, which is the paper that you need to be able to get the visa, and the time that you need to get the visa, especially with corona now that's like delayed for like a month of time once they receive the papers, and they give you the papers 3 weeks before you leave. So yeah, it's a little complicated, but it's not like it's for sure you'll receive it. It's more of a matter of time, I think.
And
Yeah,
this embassy, where is it exactly? It's in Orlando?
Atlanta. We don't have an embassy
Oh, really?
in
I thought we
Orlando.
did in Orlando. I don't know. I think I
No,
got
well,
confused.
in 1990 something, the Korean embassy was actually in Miami, but
Oh,
it moved to Atlanta, and now the embassy that has jurisdiction over us for Korea is in Atlanta.
wow. So they have to go to Atlanta for, or
So
send
you have to
documents.
send all of your stuff, expedited shipping, pay like $90 to send all that stuff for the application, and then send all your stuff for the visa. And then yeah, it's not very fun, and the emails are so interesting. They're not fully English, and sometimes they're not fully Korean either. Like I tried like sending them in full Korean, like, hi, I need to know like if you guys receive my documents and stuff. Sometimes it would just be yes, or sometimes it would be like um this paper need, and then they like send you some kind of corona paper that you had to fill out and now also send individually with your packet that you already sent. Like especially since things are changing now with corona, that every time they need some kind of new information, it's really complicated, like especially if you're in your home country. Like if you're already abroad then it's fine, but if you're in your home country trying to get here, it literally is the most stressful 2 months before you leave, like ever.
Yeah, honestly, that was something like I was really worried about because each time that I looked online, it said that I would have to actually go back home to change my visa. But since I'm already in Korea, I ended up going to the immigration office, and they told me that no, it would be okay and that I could just change my visa here in Korea. So that definitely was like a huge breath of relief for me because I was thinking, oh my God, I have to spend like $1,000 to go home and then having to worry about spending the money to do all of this stuff and whatnot. So definitely if you're in the country, it's a lot easier. But even for me, when I was applying for my visa for China, it was the most stress that I had ever experienced in my life because they would tell me one thing and then a week later they'd be like, okay, no, but you're still missing this. And then I would send them that thing and then they would tell me, oh no, actually you don't need this, you need this. And so it was very like really, really stressful for me, definitely.
I think that has happened to me. I mean, for me, it was all a blur sending my documents. I did remember like I wrote in something that wasn't supposed to be written, so I had to tell him like, wait, I had to write this down again and make sure everything's correctly, and then I had to send the documents again. I think that's what happened. They told me like I wrote something that I wasn't supposed to write in, or I was missing something, so then I sent them a new document, and then and also like for because I had to send a student visa, um, so then I had to send also my passport to the embassy in Dallas. So because in the passport they put like a special like card in the passport, and it was like valid for like it was actually valid for like the same amount of time I'm gonna be there. It was like literally like one semester. Um, but I remember it was more stressful because at the same time when I was sending my documents, we were on our way to a trip to Tennessee. So then I had to send like the rest of my paper documents at one stop in Georgia in some uh, post office. But they got it already. They got it, thank God, because I was actually kind of like stressful about it. And yeah, I think like the price, I don't remember because I had to expedite it, so it was like around $100 if I remember. I forgot like the
Actually,
whole.
for me, I think that was the one thing that I did not have to worry about, like the price, because I ended up not sending it myself because I worked at the Confucius Institute at
Mhm.
Miami-Dade. So my boss Jim ended up sending everything for me, so I didn't even have to worry about the cost, which really honestly was like a huge help to me, because I know some of my friends who did it through like this passport service, and they had to pay like $200. So
Wow.
yeah, it was really expensive. So
Yeah,
that was definitely.
the first time sending my stuff, I didn't have to spend that much. It was like 40 something dollars, but then I was in a hurry because this was kind of like a few weeks I had to go, so I had to like spend more money to send the documents like in a good time frame. So, but that was alright. So Amanda, how what about your stuff?
Um, well, the embassy for Japan is in Miami, so it was pretty easy. I just hate driving to Miami. I know y'all live there, but I hate going down there.
No, same.
Um,
We understand.
Wait, you don't live in Miami, like
no, I live in
Broward or something?
Sunrise. I'm
Oh,
Broward.
okay, okay.
Um, so I mean, it was just because of the driving down there, it was an annoying process, but it was fairly simple, just getting all the documents together. And it was like way before COVID, so I didn't have to like worry about like any extra stuff or um like I think now you have to like be really specific appointments and whatnot
I
for
actually have a question for you, Amanda.
what?
So in Japan, like when you do the Japan one, like do you
Yeah.
have to have the JLPT, or like did you have any kind of like Japanese background in order to do the program, or no?
Not the program that I did specifically because it's like an exchange program with the language school in Japan. So like you could go at any level of Japanese. They do test you when you get there, like during like the orientation week. They have everyone test to see like what level of Japanese they'll put everybody in. But you don't have to have any Japanese experience like at all. They just test everybody together. So I actually it was really bad. I went there, it was supposed to because I got a minor in Japanese. So the semester that I went was technically supposed to be the time I was doing Japanese 3, but I like I'm not a good test taker, especially in like a new environment, so I panicked on the test and like missed a complete page. And so they put me back in Japanese 2, and I had to like figure out if they'll accept it as a credit for Japanese 3, because then it was gonna like mess up all of my credits. So that was kind of stressful while I was there, but they ended up taking it. So, but I was like, frick. But yeah, the visa part wasn't too complicated. Um, it was all pretty straightforward. Like just fill out this package, apply for the visa, student visa for how long, and that was it. So
Wow. I feel like just applying to Japan is a lot easier for
Like,
I
I
starting.
mean,
really don't
I
think it's
think
like the country. I think it's the program.
Yeah, it's a program.
yeah,
Because
yeah, and I
there
think
was like some programs I heard like you had to take like that proficiency test as well. What was it called? Like JLPT, something like that.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that the Japanese test, there's two. There's JLPT and then there's another one. But
And then there's like,
they
but
also
then
take
you
it.
don't have
They
to,
take it in Miami.
but then like you can't really like take it like in Miami because I've researched it too. You have to like go and travel to another city to take the
Well,
test.
they have it in
Which
Miami now. They have it at
oh, now
FIU.
they have it in Miami. Okay,
Yeah,
because
like
I
it has to be like not even 2 years old or something like that.
oh okay no
Like a
because yeah
topic you have to travel for sure.
oh yeah for that for sure yeah because I said because I wanted to go study in Japan before, so I was researching all that stuff. And I'm like, really, we had to like go to another city, but that's good that now they have it in Miami. So
Yeah, apparently it took like 10 years for it to get to Miami once the Japanese like thing started in FIU.
hmm
But yeah, now you can take it at FIU, but it's not like you can take it whenever. It's like only twice a year or once a year or something like that. It's like super specific.
oh
Mm.
yeah
And I'm pretty sure the FIU Japanese program does require you to have like some kind of Japanese like speaking
Yeah,
kind of thing
it's
like
Mhm.
true.
that I
I
know of.
I believe my friend, she did the prestigious one that you were talking about. She did that program, and you have to have passed a certain level in order to even be able to apply for the program.
Yeah,
Otherwise, they
yeah,
won't
like the Japanese one
even
is
consider
crazy.
you. Yeah.
And also like in terms of since I did the school study abroad program before, that one, even though it wasn't directly with my school, was way easier than doing the graduate school one. Like I feel like the school at least cares about you somewhat. So they're like, they kind of just nudge you, hey, you're doing this right. You did this, and they have like little checkpoints as you go on before your study
Mm.
abroad starts. So they make sure you're doing everything right. Whereas when once you're like graduated and you do everything by yourself, it's like all on you. And like I'm not an organized person, so it was horrible.
Yeah,
I was gonna
for
like piggyback on what like Amanda said with the placement test because when I went to China, I did have to do a placement test to see like which class they to put me in. So then I got like a level 3 class, even though I did uh the HSK 2, but you know it was okay. Yeah, the process was just like, oh yeah, here's a placement test. We find out like later in the day on the bulletin board in the dormitory, and then we get our books like the next day. I didn't have to pay for my books because it was part of the scholarship. So
interesting though, because Justin and I went did the same program, so we were in the
Mhm.
same school, but they didn't give me a placement test. They just because in America I had taken Chinese level, taken the level 4 test, and I think I missed it by like 2 points for a perfect score. So they ended up just putting me in the highest level, even though I wanted to take the placement test to see. But yeah, everything else after that was honestly smooth sailings. The only thing I can say that has definitely changed is that now they require that after a year in the program, you need to have passed a certain level. So if you don't pass that level, then I think they start taking away from your stipend, I believe. Yeah. Yeah. And that's only with just the language program. But if you do the undergraduate program like I did, since my classes were all in Chinese, the government actually requires that you pass HSK level 5. But if you're taking there's a major called teaching Chinese as a second language. If you take that class, you need to have passed the highest level. And now that they've reformed the exam, all of my classmates ended up having to take the newer higher level, which none of them studied for and is way harder than the former higher level. So I know they definitely ended up going through like a lot of headache because of that.
that's a big yikes.
Yeah.
All right, so okay, so I want to know like what are like your experiences in studying abroad, like we kind of like go over a few stuff, but like how is like living and like lifestyles, all that jazz.
I feel like I'm gonna scare Christina before she starts.
I was just about to say I can only talk about my experience with study abroad in China because I haven't even I technically have not started my program yet, and I don't start until September. So I'm not really sure how that
Have you gotten
experience
a five yet?
was. Yes, I did.
I
I took
Oh,
the I
so you're
took
not gonna
the
so you're not gonna do the language program?
I am gonna do the language program though, because
So you're not going to tell them you got the 5?
yeah, no, I decided not to tell them because
Okay.
like my reading and understanding and listening is really good, but I don't really, even after living here for a very long time, speaking is still very hard for me because all of my friends either speak to me in Chinese or they speak to me in English. So I don't really have many opportunities to speak in Korean, and I definitely think that's like my biggest issue right now. So I decided that I would still actually do the language program. I just hope they put me in a good place.
What are like the like you don't have any idea where they place you when you do that language program?
No.
Like it could be like,
it's so random. It's like a gotcha.
oh really?
It's so
Oh.
basically what happens is that, like, let's say that your main school is in Seoul, right? So my main school is Sangyungwan, which is like the Samsung school or whatever. I literally only picked that school because, like, they have the old campus, which is the campus they used to have in the Chosun dynasty, which is where like old like princes and shit would like go there. But like it used to be only men, so I was just here like, oh, not only am I not a man, I'm not Korean either. So
I'm a
here
foreigner.
I am. I'm gonna be waltzing through this 600-year-old campus. So like I am going there, but that's in Seoul. So the only thing they tell you for sure is it's not going to be in Seoul. So the only way that you can know what schools are like the options is by looking at the last year and seeing where they were placed. And when I say that it's so scary because there's literally like there's a place in Busan, which is all right. Like Busan is like basically another city. I'm in Daegu, which is also another city, but like honestly, not really. Like, but and then there's random like super tiny cities that like there's only the school and like a pizza place.
Nothing.
And that's
Yeah.
and just farm. And just farm. Like there's one that's actually the worst one I think is in Nonsan, and Nonsan is actually where they put all of the trainees for
That's where my
the
friend goes
army.
to school.
Yes, wow. I heard someone went missing there.
What?
Yes, a Brazilian girl.
A Brazilian girl from the scholarship went missing there. I don't know what happened. She's safe, thankfully, but middle of nowhere. That's what happens.
If you guys want the tea of what happened to that girl,
please spill that tea. Like honestly, everyone in my school has been so curious. But yes.
But you did not hear it from me, apparently, because because I do this volunteering thing, and one of the other girls, who goes to that school, we met at our volunteering program, and so apparently she met this guy at a club, and he kind of basically was like not letting her go home. Yeah. But she also kind of did not want to go home, but she didn't think that anything bad would happen. According to her, she lost her phone and she had like no way of contacting people to like tell them that she was okay. But honestly, I think she was just D'd up. And she just really did not care. But yeah, she's like completely safe. But I think because of that, her parents kind of like were like, you need to come home.
Damn.
Yeah.
Oh, so she went home. She ended up going home.
No, she's still here. I think she's gonna stay until the end of the end of her language program. But I think after that she's probably gonna have to go home. Yeah, because it was a huge thing. Like a lot of police officers were looking for her. They reported her missing to her embassy.
Oh my god.
That's scary.
So for like just kind of like a background, since this lasts a year, we started last August. We're almost at the end of our program. So we do finish, like we finish now in August, and then we go to our main school and we start real grad school. Hooray. Yeah, but like I guess there's a few things that I should like it's not all horrible. Like at least I'm not in the middle of nowhere with all the army people, like this poor people in Nonsan. But I live in Daegu, and Daegu is like kind of hyped because there's like 2 or 3 like really famous people from Daegu. Oh my god, I don't like it here too much. It's actually the most conservative city in the country. So it is full of Trump supporters. And I say no lie. When people just look at me and I am having all of my fanciest time in this little tiny place, having my little soup, my little white soup, and I'm like minding my own business, this dude literally comes up to me and he's like, because I'm eating alone, because a lot of my friends here are Muslim and this has pork, so I'm like eating, and this guy goes, "You have no friends?" in Korean, and I'm like,
Oh my
Is
god.
that your business?
"I have friends."
I would
And
be
he's
so
like-
sad.
Like, I don't know what to respond. And he's like, why you eating so lonely, like alone? I was like,
No.
Sir, I just want to sip my
I would've
soup in
left.
peace.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know, I just want to have like my own
He's
soup
going
in
too.
peace.
He was like, you America? I'm like, yes, that's me. And he goes, oh,
Yes,
Trump-
I am the country, America.
Business,
I'm not
man.
American.
Oh my god. No, and then he starts talking about how the vaccine is useless to Korean people because they have kimchi. And the magical power of kimchi is going to
You know what?
stop.
This honestly sounds like a big troll. Like you'll
I'm
like
so
hear like
tired.
a
I'm so
Like,
tired.
But I swear this dude was so serious because his wife came from the back like, let her get the vaccine if she wants to get the vaccine. Like, all this Korean.
I mean, yeah, like I think
feel
that,
like-
that lady is
And I was
correct.
trying to eat my soup. Like, I was so happy trying to eat my soup by myself. And the worst thing is that this like little shop is by the corner. Now I can't go to the shop anymore because I feel like if I go alone, he's gonna say stuff to me again. But anyway, that's the idea of what this place is like. It's really small. Everyone kind of knows you. It's very racist towards people that aren't white European foreigners. Like we have a very big Vietnamese like population here. And when I say that these people work so hard, like I have a lot of people in my school that are in the same language program as I am, because I'm currently in the highest possible level. They made up they made up a fancy level once they let out all of the levels that they had, because they can't just let us be free, because that would be horrible. So instead, after we finished the highest level, which is level 6, they made this level called 6+, and now we still have one semester left, and now we're in the magical level called 6++, where it's honestly just a fight between the teachers and the students to see who cares less, because like you can't, like, even if you fail, where are they gonna put us? Like plus, like, so basically we're in the midst of that, and then we actually have a lot of problems because a lot of the Vietnamese students have really bad like experiences here, because like if I go to the store and I say, oh, can I have one trash bag, they'll be like, oh my god, wow, your skill is spectacular. International. Wow, I love America. Meanwhile, like and this is, thank god I'm not blonde. I came here blonde. I literally changed my hair because of it was worse. And meanwhile, like when I was with one of my classmates who's Vietnamese, she was the one who orders like our food, and the dude literally looked at her like I don't know, like so lowly, like why is she talking to me kind of thing. When
Dang.
it was so like kind of shocking, but like just something to realize if you're ever coming here, just kind of like keep it in mind that people have a very specific idea of what and like they like and what they are. I don't know, it's just not good. Those prejudices are very normal. Not every school sucks, but my school is not that great. I mean, you can get sued for talking shit about school, so I'm like, I can't say a lot of bad things, but let's just say that our basically we've had a lot of problems because a lot of our students like didn't come with any kind of Korean background. And that's something that I really have to like say, is that if you're going to come here at any point in time, especially for this program, like you have to come with some kind of Korean background. Like what Christina's doing is perfect. Like Christina's done. If she gets tired at any point in time, she can be like, oh, actually I had gotten the 5, just, you know, and she can leave after like 6 months. But for the people that come with 0, they need to get up to a level 3 within the year, and it's not even a full year. It's like maybe 9 months. And it's not easy. Like a 3 is almost conversational. Like it's conversational. You can handle yourself in a regular situation. That's not easy for people that come here with no complete, like no knowledge on the language, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So there's actually a few students even in my school right now that like they don't know what they're going to do because they're in a situation where if they don't get this 3 by the next test, they'll have to go back and this entire year would be lost. And then the government actually loses money too, because all of the tuition that they spent for the language program, plus all of the money that they gave us to live. So definitely the language has to be one of the biggest things, especially if you live in places like where I live right now. Like I'm fine. I'm not like amazing at Korean. Like I'm not something that I can just be like, oh yeah, and this is my political opinion on this. But like I'm no longer at a point where I'm worried about it. Like I can survive, even if I have to say things weirdly. But I don't know, man. Like that's probably the most important thing, is just to know how to deal with yourself and to deal with the culture differences, because they will push on you every day, especially when you're in a place that there's like no one from your same background. Like there's an American person at my school, but they're from Indiana. And like, you know, like, I'm from Miami, right? So like,
yeah.
So like, no matter what, even between me and this person is such a big culture difference. Like my family's Cuban. Like I don't speak English at home. So like, it's like this cultural almost like isolation that you have to deal with a year, like in a whole year, because you're trying to accommodate to this country and this place and this way of life. And yeah, some things are great, but some things are not, and some things are like kind of, you know, frustrating. And then you have to also deal with the fact that you're like, man, I kind of miss how things were back home, but I don't have to think about what I'm gonna do every time before I do it. And you don't have to think about whether or not what you did is right and whatever. And even then, like the language program is still chilling, because I also came here with the minimum that you needed. You need a 3, so I came with the 3. So I could have just not like cared and be fine. But it's just, I think the time that it takes to adjust to being here is just like, at first it's a roller coaster. Like at first it's really cool because you're like, yes, I'm free, I'm where I wanted to be and stuff. And then you kind of like slowly like see little things that start like kind of pushing at you, and like you can't really say stuff, and like, yeah, it's a lot.
Mm-hmm. I definitely agree with that. Like I think that is like living in China and then living in Korea, that is the one thing I think with all kinds of study abroad experiences that you definitely have to buck up for, because I feel like our imaginations are always going to be super rosy, and we're like, oh, this is how it's going to be. It's going to be super exciting. It's going to be great. But there are definitely a lot of cultural and racial instances that you really have to steel your heart against. Because even here, like whenever I experience racism of any kind, I'm always like, yes,
it's really bad. It's really
yes. Yeah. So, and then not only that, and I think as like, I'm not sure about men, but definitely for women, like when you move to another country, I can't say about other countries, but definitely with China and Korea, it can be very hard on your self-esteem and your confidence, because the standards of beauty are extremely different and extremely rigid. And so a lot of times, even without trying to, like, I'll find myself comparing myself to like some of like the really pretty girls that I see on the street, and I'm like, damn, I don't look like that. Like,
yeah, I feel that.
I think I was telling one of my friends that in America, like I never once thought of myself as like fat or like as too dark. And then I come here and I'm like, damn, like, Jesus, what is this country kind of doing to my self-esteem? And I have to really like pull myself out of that thought process and then just not listening to like what other people have to say. So it can be really, really jarring, but I mean, it's something that you worked hard for. So I would say that if you work hard for it, definitely try to stick it through. And I definitely agree with Kristen. No matter what country you're living in, definitely go with some language experience because it's going to make a world of difference. It's going to make a huge world of difference because I think one of my friends in China, she went to China not knowing any Chinese, zero. And it was so hard for her because she couldn't really make any friends, and like even doing like the most simple of simple tasks, it was very hard for her to do, and so she had to rely on other people. And after a while, people kind of get tired of you always asking them for help, and so it can get really hard. So definitely in any kind of study abroad situation, learn survival, learn their survival language, and it's gonna
I had two people leave because of that.
Yeah, it's gonna make a world of difference, I believe.
So for Japan, it was, I mean, I definitely had my fair share of looks and everything. Especially because when I was there, my hair was like all the way down to my butt. It was like super curly, so like everyone was just always like, "Oh my God, your hair."
Can I touch? Can I touch?
Literally. And but I was in Osaka, which is like, like a major city, and I stayed with a host mom. And she was like pretty good at English. And it was like there were some times where I just didn't really know how to say it in Japanese, and she didn't really know how to say it in English, and we are just kind of like, we'll just move on. It's fine. But for the most part, like she was like super accommodating, and like because I chose to do the host stay, because you could either do the program that I did was do a host stay or stay in the dorms at the school. And I didn't really want to stay at the dorms only because I I it sounds so bad, but I don't like cooking. I didn't want to be responsible for my own food like that. So the host, when you stay with the host family, they um get money to obviously have you live with them. So they are supposed to be responsible for breakfast and dinner, and lunch you do whatever you want. So my host mom was pretty good with that. Like even if she was like, "Oh, I'm gonna be out for this time," she would like cook food and leave it for us. Because I also had another girl staying with her too. We stayed there together. So she would have food with us, or if I'd be like, "Oh, I'm not gonna be home today. I don't need dinner." I just have to like really communicate that with her and not be like just out all the time and MIA. Um, but at the school, so like when we had gotten there, it was like towards the end of August, and the Japanese students like were still on their summer vacation. So it was just the foreign exchange students on campus for like a good like 2 or 3 weeks. And um it was really funny seeing all the international students interact, because you could tell that there was some students who legitimately came to Japan thinking that it was going to be like an anime, and when they realized that it wasn't, were very upset. Like they didn't want to be there anymore.
it's like people were speaking and like, where are the subtitles?
It's like they're like, "Oh, I don't. Where's my anime waifu?" And I was like, "I can't.
God.
Can't. I actually can't." It was so cringy seeing some of these people. It was terrible. But then once the Japanese students, because there was only like, I want to say probably like less than 100 of us, like in total of the foreign exchange students from like all over. So it was very empty, the campus. And then once the Japanese students came back, it was like a full flooded campus, and the Japanese students were so interested in making friends with us, because obviously like we all go to school together, so that was really cool. But it was so interesting seeing how they would interact with us, because they would come up to us and they only wanted to learn curse words. They're like, "Oh, give me the slang, give me the curse words," and I was like, "That's all you want to know about English? Okay." um, and I mean, for me personally, I like I said, I got a lot of looks like on the trains and being out and about. But I feel like because it was like Osaka's a really big city too, it was minimal. Like I've heard, I don't want to say horror stories, but I've heard, things happen to like people in like more rural areas, like being like just straight up gawked at, like when they're walking down the street and being like, what the hell is that? kind of thing. So I think I definitely had a more minimal experience. There was one time me and my friend were going to this shrine. I think it was near Kyoto, and we were walking up, like hadn't even gotten to the steps yet, and this random Japanese girl comes up to me and is like, "Can I get a picture with you?" And I was like, "Me? Me?" She's like, "Yeah." And I was like,
Yeah.
"Okay." And so we just like all three of us are like, "Hello, take a picture." And then she walks away. And my friend who is Japanese was like, "That was the weirdest thing I've ever seen." I was like, "I don't, bro, we're in your country. I don't know." I don't know.
I feel like that happens here all the time, but half of them are cult people. That's the difference.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It happens in China all the time with
Mm-hmm.
young people, old people. I was
Mhm.
in a marathon, and like at the end of the marathon, I was standing waiting for my friends, and I can't even tell you, we caused a spectacle because people started like engulfing us, just wanting pictures. And at some point I was like, anybody else who wants to take a picture has to pay me like $5 because I'm tired. This is a whole job.
That's
And then
funny.
but it's great when people ask, but sometimes you'll have people who do it without care. I was in a grocery store, and some guy asked me for my picture, and it was Thanksgiving, and I was cooking a Thanksgiving meal for my friends, so I was looking crusty, dusty, and musty. I had my glasses on. My hair was not done. Like there was like grease stains on my shirt and whatnot, and I
Oh
was like,
no.
Oh my god.
no, sir. And he started following me. And once I like started to sprint away, he sprinted after me just for this
What?
picture. Yes.
So freaky.
So you'll definitely get some crazies like that.
Yeah.
But at least with the people who ask, that's great. Oh, but speaking of cults, like Kristen mentioned, beware of the South Korean cults.
Oh my god. Yeah,
Yeah, like
I've
they'll
heard
try
of
and be your
things.
friend, and then they're like, "Let me give you this information. Do you like Jesus?" And you're like, "Oh." And that's when you're like, life just, oh, you're one of those
Those
people.
people.
No, and also
Yeah.
And
I've
that's when
heard
you
not
say
just
no.
not just Jesus, but of like older traditional Korean cults too. I've heard as
Yeah, well,
well.
there's one that's really, really specific that says
The
something about Jesus being a
Shintanji.
woman. Yeah, those people. No, I don't know. I'm not sure. I literally just say no, like immediately. Like they're like, "Did you know Jesus was a woman?" And I'm like, "Okay."
Interesting.
Next thing I know,
I'll
it's
be
like,
like,
do you
"All
know
right."
Jesus was Korean?
Yeah, and like nowadays, like in front of my school, there's a lady who gives out wipes for Jesus, and like she just like looks at you when she realizes that like you're not Korean, and instead of saying like Yesunim, which is Jesus, she'll just go Believe Jesus, and you're like, okay.
That's
Thanks for the white
I'm,
bees.
I'm just like, I. One guy randomly came up to me, and actually his English was like perfect, and so he's like, "Do you believe in Jesus Christ?" I said, "No, I believe in Satan." Hell, Satan.
Yeah, like you really have to
That's
like
so funny.
compare yourself
I
to those
walked
things.
away, all the while doing like, "No, I don't believe in Satan."
That's so funny. I didn't
Literally,
know
like
that
you get
like
the randomest thing there.
I didn't know like that was also a thing in Japan. And there was one time
Mhm.
me and my friend were like standing at a train station, and he's mixed, he's black and Japanese, so he's fluent in both Japanese and English. And so we were standing out there talking, and we noticed these like two women not that far from us like talking to each other, and they kept like glancing at us, and I was like, are they good? Do they like need help or something? I'm thinking because we're at a train station, they're lost or something. So we like look at them, and then they like like make eye contact, like come over, and they're like trying to speak English, and my friend is like, "Oh, I speak Japanese," and they're like, "Oh my God, you speak Japanese? Oh, that's great, blah blah blah." And they're like conversing. I'm just standing there because they're going a mile a minute. I'm like, my Japanese is not that good. And then all of a sudden, they just whip out this pamphlet, and it says like Jesus on it, and I was like, "Oh no,
Oh
we got
no.
baited. They're here
Yeah.
too. No." It was so funny, and he was like, "Oh, okay, thank you." They like got them to like walk away, and we looked at each other and just busted out laughing. I was like, "Dang, that just happened."
Well, actually, in China, there's nothing like that. Like, you don't preach, you don't promote a religion. Apparently, that's, I think, like illegal. I don't know. I read like the laws, like before going to China, and like preaching in public is not really permitted. It has to be like within like the actual sanctity of like your religion, like in a church or in a temple. That's when you're allowed to like preach or anything like that. So like handing out pamphlets, all that stuff, it's not really a thing. But also, majority of the people over there are atheists. So
It's true. I mean, I did go to church in China because my neighbor was Christian, and so actually I was going to their youth program for about a year until like one day my professor came up to me in class and was like, "Oh, Tina, we need to speak to you." And I was like, "Oh my God, but did I do something illegal?" And then she told me that did like actually I did not know, but foreigners in China are not allowed to participate in like religious events.
what?
So yeah, so they told me that, oh yeah, you're gonna have to stop going to that church, and I was like, wow, okay.
That's weird
Dang, and nobody
because
told you for a whole
Yeah,
year?
yeah. So there is an exception unless the church is opened by foreigners themselves. So a
oh,
bunch of students on in our campus actually did like get like a space to like have like a Bible study and whatnot, but you're not allowed to attend Chinese churches.
Dang,
yeah.
that's
Nope.
Yeah,
crazy.
they're
Because
Kind of
they're
messed up.
extremely strict about it. They're extremely strict about it
like
because
okay.
I'm sorry, because they believe that most of them are cults, and so it's mostly for protection, but still.
Understandable.
Mm.
But yeah, I do have Muslim friends when I was in China, and during September, it's like one of their holidays. They did go to a mosque in the city, but like I didn't hear anything else about like if they're not allowed to any other foreigners because they're from Kazakhstan, so I don't know if they're okay with them going to the mosque. But I never heard about this before. Like if we're not allowed to go to like any other spots. But I did visit other temples, so uh, and I did do like one of those little like incense and all that stuff. So no one told me anything.
Got lucky.
Yeah, I got lucky.
Yeah.
So so I think we discussed some benefits and disadvantages to studying abroad. Oh, we talk about some like stuff about like what we spoke about. I did want to mention that even in China, in my school, they did mention just to be careful because there are some instances about abduction, especially towards the women. So they also made that clear with us foreign students. I don't know if any other of you guys had like anything, like any like disclaimers or like be careful who you talk to and blah blah blah.
Oh yeah, like so my boyfriend's Korean, but it's not like I met him on an app or anything. Like I met him because I'm unfortunately a weeb. But
Why so unfortunate?
Bro, anyone that's a true weeb doesn't claim it.
Yeah.
yeah, I needed help actually getting like tickets for a anime event in this country. There's a big anime scene here, just But I didn't have this problem, but I know that a lot of people do. That there are a lot of men, especially this is specifically for men, people that like men. So a lot of Korean men, and I don't want to like assume the entire population of Korean men are bad, but there's like a specific group of Korean men that almost prey on like the foreigners with the fantasy of Korea that come here like naive, and they're like, oh, I want to have a boyfriend that looks like an idol. And like, honestly, like I feel like anyone at one point in their life, they want to have a famous looking boyfriend or whatever. It's fine. Like I honestly don't like think anything bad of people that come here with a fantasy. It's more of like a I'm worried for these people kind of thing. There's a lot of men that they will I heard of a lot of ghosting, that they do not take you seriously, that they will literally just like talk to you one day and then all of a sudden gone from your life completely. Men that tell you, oh, I don't use Kakao Talk, when that is the main messenger platform in Korea. They'll tell you that they use Line instead, which is the Japanese one. Line is technically Korean, but they use in Japan. If they do that, that's almost positive that they have a actual Korean girlfriend, or they don't want you on any kind of real messenger platforms. Like I've heard so many bad like situations with these kind of things, that it's just a lot of them do not see foreigners as I see my life with you. They'll see foreigners as I'm curious, so I'm gonna give a shot kind of
hookup.
Like, and you'll also always hear the line that, oh, I want to try a foreigner, as if you're like something to buy, and it's like a subscription trial, a free trial until you buy the real thing.
Oh yeah, it's especially bad. I didn't do any clubs here when I came this time, but when I was in undergrad, I did go to like 2 or 3, just for the nightlife, not because I wanted to talk to anybody. It was the first club that actually I'd ever got in my life, because my parents are really strict. Justin should know. Like I was like, oh, I'm gonna try going to a club, and it's so awkward because like back then I knew no Korean. Like now I only I speak more Korean than English I do on a regular day because of where I am. But back then I spoke no Korean. I just went to the club and I would have random Korean men just like, they don't even look at you. They just kind of like put their hands on your hips, and then they kind of wait until you have a reaction. So I was so like, why is someone touching me? I looked to the side and it was, where are you from? It's always, where are you from?
Where are you from?
It's always, where are you from? And then it just goes from there. Like, do you want to go with me out? And it's like, oh, where? Like, I don't know who this person is. And it's just, yeah, it would be really bad. I had a friend who would actually it's completely fine if you're down for hooking up with people and you know that you're down for only hooking up with people and you don't want to get into an emotional relationship. That's fine. If that's where you stand, that's fine. But there's actually people that live close to the clubs, and they'll have a group of men that are all attractive, very attractive young men. But they focus, literally, they'll spend their entire summer being like, oh, this girl had a one night stand with me and it was fine. Go flirt with her and it'll be fine. And it would be a group of men that would basically tell the other people about it, and then they would be around the same clubs, and they'll have their house conveniently placed 2-3 minutes from the club.
Jesus.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Oh.
So
anyways, we're almost in that 1 hour. Well, we're pretty much already an hour. So anything you guys want to say, you could just wrap it up.
I mean, I really enjoyed my study abroad in Japan. It was only for a semester. Wish I kind of did it longer, but I'm trying to go back and teach English there once COVID is over.
Yeah, I wish I did mine's longer for China. But also I want to know, because when I came back to America, I felt like I had some sort of reverse culture shock. I don't know if you have experienced that.
I did, because I got so used to the trains being pin drop quiet, and I got back to America and I was like, why the hell is everything so loud here? Oh my god. It was there wasn't a whole lot, because I feel like I adapt pretty well overall. So I was chilling. There's people who had homesickness, obviously in Japan or whatever. I was like, I'm chilling, bro. I am glad I am out of America for a couple months.
Oh yeah.
So I feel like I didn't have a whole lot. There were some things here and there, but being loud was definitely, I don't know why, I was just Holy crap, this place is loud.
For me, it was mostly the food. I couldn't really eat the food here back in America because like I was so used to like Chinese food is really like the best that I've had. It's not like the food here, like the Chinese food you guys have here, not orange chicken, all that stuff. It's literally like
Yeah.
legit, like good cuisine. But then coming back, I couldn't like I used to eat Wendy's burgers, and now I cannot eat it anymore because then I get an upset stomach, pretty much.
Yeah,
So
that's fair.
yeah, that's like a few things there. And then I miss walking a lot. I will always
I
walk
did do a lot of walking.
here, there. But yeah, but one time I'll just be like walking some other place, but then now I'm just used to because now I have a car. So I
Yeah.
just need to go from because here America's too automobile dependent. So
And Florida in general is just freaking.
yeah, just
bro.
Florida because if it's like another city, you could just walk. Florida's bigger than Korea. Yeah,
I'm
that.
not
Yeah.
surprised. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous. How big it is.
Well, anyways, guys, thank you for joining the podcast.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, no problem.
For having us.
Yeah, and then
things doesn't mean we hate anything.
yeah, exactly. There are good things, you know. We encourage everyone to like, you know, study abroad. It will open your mindset about a lot of things too. So
Yeah, definitely the best thing I did. So.
yes, oh yeah, me too. All right, thank you for the ones listening and watching. This is the Neon East podcast, and this is OKPop Justin signing off. Thank you. Have a nice one. Bye bye.